Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Laura and on my channel I am sharing everything that I am doing to live a happier and healthier life. That includes weight loss, that includes my new allotment, that includes all the things that I'm doing just to live happier, simpler but more fulfilling life. And today I thought I would talk about how I handle a breakfast buffet. Couple of weeks ago, I went to visit a family member and we stayed in a Premier Inn. It was a very last minute thing. It certainly wasn't a holiday. It was just a last minute trip. And we stayed in a hotel. We stayed in a Premier Inn and we, sorry, I'm just going to swap hands because that one's starting to ache. We obviously needed to navigate that in terms of food. I didn't record any of it, but for the evening meal, I got the gammon steak with pineapple, peas, chips. Didn't eat the chips, gave them to my kids. So I did really well with the evening meal. That was very much on Slimming World plan and really good for like being on my GLP-1 and stuff. Breakfast I knew was going to be more of a challenge. I know there's great options at breakfast, but equally there's some really bad options at breakfast. So breakfast was a bit more of a challenge. And so I needed to kind of figure out how I was going to manage that. And I'm really pleased with how I managed it. So I thought I would share that with you. I know my eyes keep going off. It's because I'm filming on my phone and the camera's there, but the screen's there. And sorry, apologies for that. Also apologies for the location. I wouldn't normally necessarily just sit in my car and film a video, but it's a bit of a struggle sometimes to get it done at home with, family life. And I've got about half an hour before I need to get to work. I'm sat in a lay-by. I've got time to do it, so here we are. I do have some footage from when I was at the Premier Inn, so that'll be in there as well. But yeah, so what I did was before we went, because I knew we were going to the Premier Inn, we've been many times before, I knew largely what breakfast was going to look like. We hadn't stayed at this specific one, so if you've ever stayed in a Premier Inn before, or you've stayed at several Premier Inns, you may know some of them it's just a buffet and you just help yourself, and that is a bit easier, I find, because some of them you have to order specifically the hot food that you want, and then I don't get to pick it and choose and have like plenty of one and not so much of other and things like that. So I prefer when that's not the case, and luckily for this one that was not the case. So it was just a buffet and we could just help ourselves. So before we went, I went on the website and had a really good look at the menu. Even though obviously I've been before, I just wanted a really good look at what all the options were and what I could potentially eat. And I'm going to insert some footage of the menu here. And I had a look and I thought hot food, there's great options for hot food. I'll avoid the sausages because that's likely to be quite high in fat. I will probably have some sort of egg. I'll see what they have. Sometimes they have different options in terms of the egg, so it kind of depends what they have. So yeah, the hot food I was pretty happy with. And then I thought, right, well, I'll have a look at the other alternative like sections. Obviously fruit, fine, can have some fruit. And the pastries was the area that like traditionally, or not traditionally, but in the past, like pre-diet, I would have had a hot food and then come back for some pastries. And that's what I needed to make sure I was avoiding. So it's just a case of willpower, I guess. It's just a case of knowing. But I think thinking in advance and planning it in advance allowed me to think I'm not going to do that. Like, because I'd kind of considered it in my head, I was like, this is what I'm having for breakfast. And that being the hot food, it made it easier to have that willpower for me. So that's something I'm learning, that planning ahead, especially for these circumstances that are slightly more out of my control, but also in general planning ahead, is such an important aspect of being successful in this weight loss journey. So yeah, what I'll do now is I'll insert the footage and show you kind of what I did and how I managed it. It is voiceover because my children are talking to me whilst we're going around the buffet and I'm not putting them on the internet, so I will be doing voiceover for it. But yeah, this is how I managed it. Here's the footage from the actual Premier Inn. I started off with checking out the kind of cereal area, just seeing if it matched exactly what it said on the menu, if there was anything new there that I thought might be not free, but like a low SWIP, but I just didn't really fancy any of it. I was checking out the fruit just in case I wanted to come back to that later. In the end, I didn't. And I also wanted to see if there were any kind of individual pot yogurts where I could work out the calories or the SWIPs. But again, there weren't. There was just the big tubs of it. Had a quick look at the pastries and decided I definitely didn't really want any. To be honest, they didn't really appeal to me on this day. They didn't look particularly exciting, so I wasn't too fussed about missing those. Did have a quick look over at the kind of jams and sauces, but again, because I wasn't really having any of the pastries, didn't fancy any. So the hot food selection at this particular Premier Inn, it was during half term. Obviously you've got your sausages, your bacon, there's black pudding, mushrooms, beans, hash browns, tomatoes, and 2 different kinds of egg. I debated over the eggs, couldn't really decide which one I thought was going to be the better option, so I had a bit of each. So you can just see me now picking up a fried egg and a scrambled egg. Obviously I don't know if that is fried in much oil or anything like that, but you're just doing your best in these circumstances. I grabbed a tomato. I don't often enjoy the tomatoes like this, so I don't think I even really ate it, to be honest. I gave it to my husband. A couple of hash browns. Again, I actually only ended up eating one of these, so I was pretty full, and gave the other one to my husband, so didn't have both. Skipped over the beans because I like to add them last. Definitely picked up some mushrooms. I love fried mushrooms on a breakfast. And I don't think they're too bad. Again, you're just doing the best that you can in these circumstances. Grabbed some bacon. Now, I particularly like bacon in like a full ration, not just the medallion. So I tried to grab a couple of medallions where, you know, the bit falls, but I also grabbed myself a little bit of full bacon and just thought, you know, I'm going to count the SWIPs, it's fine. Thought about sausage and then thought, actually, no, I don't think I want a sausage. They look pretty high in fat. And I grabbed a bit of black pudding because I never ever cook myself black pudding and I really love black pudding. So I thought, you know, I'm going to treat myself and have a little bit of black pudding. No big deal. So I figured out where to put that, and then I went ahead and got the baked beans. So this was me basically just trying to do the best that I could. And I feel like I did pretty well. To be honest, this week I had a really good weight loss. I think I lost like 4 pounds that week when I went to my weigh-ins. I was really pleased. And to be honest, that really, really filled me up. So I hope that was really useful and helpful information for you. I hope you enjoyed watching that. If you did, please would you consider subscribing to my channel and supporting me in what I'm doing. It really means I really want to build a community of people here. So that would mean a lot to me. So if you could, I would really appreciate that. My next video is going to be a what I eat in a day during my weight loss journey. And then I think it's about time for another allotment tour because things have changed over there. So those are the things that are going to be coming up. If that sort of thing interests you, then please do subscribe, and then you won't miss, hit the notification button, and you won't miss any of those videos. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.